Chapter 1: The Silent Bloom. The crimson sun, a malevolent eye in the bruised purple sky, dipped below the jagged peaks of the Xylose Mountains, casting long, skeletal shadows across the hydroponic farms of New Eden. Dust, fine as powdered ruby, swirled around the ankles of Dr. Aries Thorne as he adjusted the magnification on his bioscanner, the whirring a counterpoint to the rhythmic drip of nutrient solution from the overhead pipes. The air, thick with the scent of alien flora and the faint, metallic tang of recycled air, hung heavy with unspoken tension. The meticulously cultivated green expanse surrounding him, a testament to years of painstaking terraforming, was, in truth, a carefully constructed illusion. Beneath the vibrant surface lurked a silent threat. Ilara Vance, his research assistant, her youthful face etched with worry lines that belied her 23 years, hovered nearby, her own scanner humming softly. Her dark braid, usually a vibrant cascade, was pulled back severely, the starkness mirroring the urgency in her eyes. "Reading still stable, Doctor," she said, her voice a tight whisper against the background hum of the farm. The carefully controlled calm in her voice was a thin veneer, barely masking the unease both of them felt. The project, codenamed Mycelia, had initially been hailed as a triumph. The genetically modified fungus, Cordyceps keplerianus, designed to break down Kepler 186f's stubbornly resistant soil and pave the way for sustainable agriculture, had performed beyond expectations, at first. It had transformed barren landscapes into fertile fields, a green testament to human ingenuity. Now, however, that same ingenuity seemed poised to backfire spectacularly. Aries ran a hand through his already disheveled dark hair, the gesture betraying the simmering anxiety beneath his outwardly calm demeanor. "Stable is a relative term, Ilara," he muttered, his gaze glued to the scanner's display. A series of pulsating green nodes, representing the fungus's mycelial network, stretched across the screen. "The growth rate is accelerating beyond the parameters." Ilara's breath hitched. She leaned closer, her dark eyes wide with a growing apprehension that mirrored Aries' own. "More than acceleration, Aries. Look at the nutrient uptake. It's consuming the terraformed flora at an alarming rate. The native xylose blooms near Sector 7 are vanishing." Aries' stomach clenched. He knew what that meant. The Cordyceps, once a carefully controlled tool, was now a runaway train, hurtling towards disaster. The initial reports of anomalous growth had been dismissed as minor fluctuations, easily managed. Now, the minor fluctuations had become a full-blown avalanche. Suddenly, the scanner emitted a high-pitched whine, the red alert light flashing with an aggressive intensity. A new node cluster, far larger than any they had seen before, appeared on the display, nestled ominously within the perimeter of the main agricultural zone. It pulsated with an unnerving energy, a silent scream of unchecked growth. Aries swore under his breath, the sound swallowed by the vastness of the hydroponic farm. This was not a localized problem. This was a catastrophic system failure. Their carefully constructed paradise was under siege, and the enemy was of their own making. The silent bloom had become a silent scream. Chapter 2: Containment Breach. The emergency klaxon ripped through New Eden, its jarring wail a stark contrast to the usually peaceful hum of the colony. Red light strobed across the hydroponic farms, painting the once serene landscape in a hellish glow. Dr. Aries Thorne, his face grim, barked orders into his comm unit, his voice tight with controlled panic. "Activate Protocol Alpha 7. Seal off Sector 7 immediately. All personnel to designated evacuation zones." Chaos erupted. Colony workers, their faces etched with fear and confusion, scrambled to evacuate the affected area, their movements a frantic ballet of panic and discipline. The normally efficient machinery of the colony, designed for precision and control, was thrown into disarray. The air crackled with static and the urgent chatter of panicked voices. Ilara Vance, her eyes wide with a mix of terror and grim determination, worked alongside Aries, coordinating the emergency response. "Sector 7 containment is failing, Doctor," she yelled over the din, pointing to the live feed from a drone monitoring the fungal spread. The image showed the Cordyceps keplerianus consuming everything in its path, its bioluminescent tendrils a horrifyingly beautiful plague sweeping across the landscape. "Damn it!" Ares slammed his fist on the console, the force of the blow jarring the equipment. Their initial containment strategies, physical barriers, fungicide dispersal, had proven utterly useless against the fungus's aggressive expansion. The cordyceps had surpassed its programmed limitations, adapting with a terrifying speed and efficiency. "We need to understand its evolutionary pathway," Ares growled, his voice hoarse. "It's adapting too fast. We need to find its weakness." He felt a cold knot of fear in his gut. This wasn't just about containing a plant pathogen, this was a fight for survival. "The growth rate is exponential, Doctor," a young scientist, Liam Chen, reported, his voice trembling. "Even with the emergency fungicide deployment, it's spreading faster than we can contain it." Ares felt a surge of cold anger. The hubris of their technological superiority had been exposed. They had underestimated the power of nature, the relentless drive of evolution. The fungus, their own creation, had turned against them with a terrifying efficiency. He looked at Ilara, her face pale but resolute. Their meticulously planned paradise, their future here on Kepler 186f, was crumbling. They were losing. And the implications were far worse than the loss of crops. The fungus, if unchecked, posed a direct threat to the entire colony. His mind raced, searching for a solution, a chink in the fungus's armor. But even as he searched, the alarm klaxon blared again. This time, it was accompanied by the chilling sound of a second containment breach. The fungus was no longer contained, it was unleashed. Chapter 3: The Ethical Dilemma. The emergency meeting was held in the colony's central hab dome, the air thick with tension and the scent of recycled air tinged with the metallic tang of fear. Dr. Ares Thorne stood before the assembled colonists, his face gaunt, his eyes burning with a desperate energy. Around him, faces reflected the spectrum of human emotions: fear, anger, resignation, and a flickering ember of hope. "The situation is critical," Ares began, his voice echoing in the cavernous space. He projected his voice with an intensity that brooked no argument, but there was a tremor beneath his words betraying his own unease. "Containment efforts have failed. The cordyceps is evolving faster than we can counter it. We're losing ground." A murmur rippled through the assembly, a low tide of unease. One colonist, a weathered farmer named Jebediah, spoke up, his voice raspy. "What are our options, Doctor? We can't just let this thing wipe us out." Ares's gaze swept across the worried faces. He knew what he had to propose, a solution so radical, so ethically fraught, it could shatter the delicate fabric of their already desperate situation. He took a deep breath, preparing himself for the storm that would inevitably follow. "I have a proposal," he said, his voice